Hey guys, what's going on? This is Roth. You guys, I am here with Josh Gad, who loves our toys.
I am obsessed with IGN's toys.
Thank you, and IGN, yes.
And IGN. I actually do love IGN.
I incepted you.
Yes, you did.
Jedi mind trick.
This is how it happens.
You
will love IGN.
You will love IGN. We're here to talk about the Comedians, which I don't know that we've seen now 2 episodes have aired.
Correct.
And there's another one coming up very soon.
Very soon. This Thursday. I'm not sure when this is going to go out, but
every Thursday on
at
FX.
10 p.m. on FX. The Comedians is on, and it is just getting better and better and better. And this week, Billy Crystal and myself wind up getting nominated for in the same category at like a Kids' Choice Award thing. He for his work in Monsters, Inc., and me for my work in Frozen. And we're up against each other in the same category. And it actually came out of a real incident when we were developing the show. The 2 of us were both nominated simultaneously for Monsters University and Frozen. And it was so funny to kind of create a story out of that.
If you had to cast the vote, are you voting for yourself?
If I had to cast the vote.
If you had to cast the vote.
I have a bias being in my own body. But I would have to, even if I said I voted for you, buddy, I think I would.
It would be a total lie.
Yeah, I think I would lie.
I would vote for you.
Thank you.
I like how it was secret,
but I still heard it, yeah. You did this, but interestingly, the sound still cuts through your hand.
It was in the wrong direction. This is such a fun, I love it when the conceit is actors playing themselves, because of course it's always, I don't know if you ever saw Don't Trust the Bee.
In Apartment 23?
Yeah.
I've seen episodes. I love Kristen, so yeah.
Because it's always such a, I hope and imagine, heightened version, right?
Oh, I maybe share 5% of the qualities with the fake version of myself on the show.
But I do have to ask, because it's poking fun at Hollywood and sort of the stereotypical version of celebrities. Billy Crystal is iconic, as are you, sir.
Well, thank you.
But how much is sort of mined from real things? How much of it is sort of kind of
true? I said, incidents like Billy and I both getting nominated in the same category becomes fodder for the show. And at its core, although we're playing versions of ourselves and the show is about a show within a show, really what it's about is this generational disconnect between these 2 guys. One who's a veteran comic, one who's a younger comedic actor, being forced to work together toward the same end goal and having very different approaches toward that goal. Yeah. And so when you're doing something like that, you sort of want to pull from as many different facets of real life, but heighten it as much as you can. Like This Is the End or something like that, where you're playing very egocentric versions of reality. In real life, I'm married, I've got 2 kids. In this version, I don't even think he knows what the word marriage is. And it's like you just sort of skew reality everywhere you can.
I'm curious if you ever find yourself, you've already had such a big career, but do you ever find that even now you will occasionally you have some great guest stars, starstruck? And I don't know when you first met somebody like Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks was a perfect example of getting starstruck. We went to his office, which was actually on the Culver Studio lot, which is where we shoot. And I walk into the room, and in the kind of the office space before you get to his room, there are all these posters on the wall, and you go into this portal where you're reminded of this man's brilliance. Yeah. Right? You've got History of the World Part 1, you've got Spaceballs, you've got Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, the producers. Young Frankenstein, I think, is the most perfect comedy ever made.
Yes, that's the right answer.
Blazing Saddles is also pretty magical. But then he did movies like The Elephant Man. He's just got a very eclectic career. So you're sitting there, and then out walks this spry 80-something-year-old man who he's as on it as he was back when he was 30. And he brings us into the room, and he goes, you guys might, at the end of the meeting, we're in there for an hour pitching him what we want him to do, and he falls in love with it. And then as we're on our way out, he goes, do you mind if I make a quick call while you guys are sitting around? We're like, sure. He goes, I just want to call a friend. and Carl Reiner picks up the phone on the other end. And the two of them literally start doing a bit, okay, with each other. And he's telling Carl how my name doesn't have enough consonants in it. That I would be far more successful if my last name were Glad. And like Cary Grant would not have been as successful if his name were Cary Gant. And this bit then becomes a bit on the actual show. And I was just I was like, the fact that the punchline involved my name was such a pinch yourself surreal moment.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I grew up, like this was what I grew up just breathing and inhaling and living. I wanted to be a part of anything Mel Brooks. Like that was my idol. So to then get an opportunity to play with him and have him do our series was incredible.
You have, I believe it was the end of last, because I marathoned a bunch of them all in a row, and I agree with you, it just keeps getting better. But there was a moment where there's a Breaking Bad spoiler at the very end of one of the episodes. It's an exchange between you and Billy Crystal, and you spoil the end of Breaking Bad for him. And it's hilarious because I know there's people that are going to get upset.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was actually... I was very concerned when we were shooting that because I'm like, I'm going to get such hate mail for not only ruining this for Billy, but for ruining it for our audience. My hope is that most of FX's viewership has actually seen Breaking Bad by that point. But that is the nature of my relationship with Billy, both on the series and off the series, is there's a lot of times where I'll do something or I'll say something that will just, or he'll get it and just want to punch me for ruining it. But it's, that's art imitating life right there.
What is your stance on spoilers? Because it's just such a constant conversation, kind of.
So I'm a glutton for punishment. Mm-hmm. I'm actually, I really do love IGN. And so I'll go on IGN and I'll go on places like Slash Film and things like that, and I'll read up to a point, like when it comes to Star Wars, for instance. Uh-huh. And it'll say the word spoiler. And
then you'll jump out.
And
I'll warn you.
And I'll be very like, I'll come close. Sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't. But you guys warn you, but it's a Pandora's box.
It sure is. I mean, the thing is with that is we really do talk about this incessantly because we don't want to ruin things for people.
No, I know. And like most of the websites do this where they give you ample warning, but they say we've got to report on it because it's what we do. But I've gotten better lately. But sometimes I'll ruin it for myself.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have to know.
I have to. We'll get off the topic of spoilers soon, but I read the 2 big Star Wars rumors that I implore you never to read. We haven't reported on them, and you should never read them.
Yeah, like Latino Review ran one of them, I remember, and I was really upset because I go on that website and I accidentally, I don't think I saw the full spoiler, but I saw a name.
Yeah.
And I was like, shame on you.
Really?
Did you ruin it for yourself?
I ruined it. I had to read it to make sure that we didn't want to run it, and we didn't, because it was that
Can you go back in time and stop yourself?
I would love to.
Can you Skynet it?
Not if it involves Skynet. That's way too terrifying.
Can you Terminator Genesis it?
Do you like the twist?
I do like the twist. But speaking of spoiling, why would you show that twist in your trailer? That was so bizarre to me. Wait, you guys should really know this is the cool third act reveal. We want you to see this early on so that you know how cool what we're doing is. No! I don't want to know.
I feel like there must be a twist after the twist. Do you bring any of this side? I mean, I haven't seen it yet. It's funny. I haven't seen I think the last 3 episodes yet. But I haven't seen you bring any of this side of yourself in
my comic book geeky.
You're sort of like very endearing geekiness.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've had an opportunity to bring that. You got to save something for season 2. But a lot of people don't know that about me. That I really am, like I'm really, really into this stuff.
Yeah.
Like really into it.
Oh,
like I was a movie geek. I remember when I was 14 years old, I wrote an email to Harry Knowles.
You did?
I wrote an email to Harry Knowles being like, your website has changed my life. And like, I used to go on there and I used to like subscribe to Starlog magazine. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Drew, I think that was Drew was there.
Yes,
Drew McQueenie.
Drew McQueenie, and like that was my life. Like I was just a biggest movie buff. I remember skipping school
inside baseball now.
I remember skipping school for an entire day, waiting online for the Phantom Menace, making the mistake that we all infamously made, but believing in my heart that it was worth it. It was worth missing that Latin exam test that I would have to make up.
But
and
it was
fail.
ultimately.
It was. I remember watching the very first scene when the Trade Federation guys are like, tell me about the and being like, this, I don't understand what's happening, but I want to believe that it's going to get better. And what I did was, and it's so sad that I did this, I went back the next morning trying to convince myself. I literally saw
it again?
The next morning. Went to like a 10 a.m. screening trying to convince myself that it wasn't as off as I thought it was.
I went to the opening night of all three.
So did I.
Just stubbornly thinking, this time.
Look, the pod race scene is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The scene with Dooku and Yoda is incredible. The scene with the Emperor and Yoda in the final one is amazing. There are elements that are great. Just that love story is so, I don't know, missed the mark a little bit. Sorry, George.
No, it's okay, because now we have the McConaughey reaction is the true reaction to that new Star Wars
Inception trailer. That is so funny. Yeah, it really is. I cried. I posted a picture of myself crying. I owned it when he says, Chewie, we're home. I literally sobbing.
Did you lobby to try to be a part of it?
No. I did. I sort of did. I went on, I think it was Fallon, and I did like I tried to convince JJ that I was like Sam Solo, who was like Han's kind of overweight son who nobody knew about, who's the black sheep of the family, but. Suffice it to say, Jimmy, I guess, is not watched by JJ on a nightly basis.
Or the twist within the twist of that movie is that Sam shows up to save the day, to get the new, get Luke's lightsaber.
But maybe now that they're doing like an all-war Star Wars, maybe there'll be like just a comedy Star Wars that I can do one day.
There's going to be so many of them that I feel like there are infinite possibilities. You can reboot Spaceballs. You know Mel now. Do it.
They were going to do Spaceballs too.
I know.
Yeah, years ago.
Swinging back to the comedians.
Yes, back to the comedians.
Really quickly. They do bring in elements of your life. I mean, there's a poster of 1600 Penn.
We definitely make fun of a lot of our successes, but ultimately most of our failures. I mean, that was part of the agreement, right? That's part of what we signed on for. Billy and I sort of made a pact at the beginning that if we were going to do it, we were going to do it warts and all. So we never shy away from anything that makes us look bad.
Yeah.
Even though oftentimes it's really hard to do that, especially because I love Billy. So having to attack fake Billy Crystal on the show is painful to do. But I think ultimately it's what creates the discomfort between us.
There's still affection there too.
There is.
Yeah, you can feel that too. There's also, you have a little Olaf. And I was curious, there's a really funny bit that I don't want to ruin where you have to do
get out
a
of a
phone
situation,
call
right.
as Olaf. And I was thinking how interesting to be a part of this phenomenon, but recognizable only as your voice.
Right.
And how many people do put it together that don't know and ask then for you to sing with them?
Oh, on a daily basis, I'll be stopped no less than 6 times. People will grocery stores are the funniest. Because they hear me talking and they'll be like,
Olaf?
Is that you?
Yeah. Did they just start singing?
They'll start singing or they'll be like, can I get a warm hug?
Oh, that's
like, you're a creeper.
Awkward.
No, that's terrible.
Do you hand out warm hugs? I imagine not.
To kids, like although that sounds even creepier. But like if a young kid is like, oh, are you Olaf? can I get a warm hug? Of course I'll do it. If it's like a 55-year-old Comic-Con fan, no, it's not going to happen.
No warm hugs for Comic-Con?
No warm hugs.
Those are your people.
I know, Comic-Con, I love you guys, but it just gets creepy when you're asking me for a warm hug. I'll give you a warm autograph.
Yeah, a warm autograph and a nice hello.
Yes.
Hello to you, emotional hug. You should do a Comic-Con episode. That would be impossible. That would be so hard.
I did a movie, Wish I Was Here, that nobody saw, but that there is a whole Comic-Con sequence in.
Yeah.
So I've done my homage.
I think that Ted's doing one too. Are you excited about Frozen 2?
Very. Are you excited about Frozen 2?
We are Frozen fans around here.
Yeah.
It's a strange phenomenon. I really
Nobody
think it's
saw it coming.
fascinating.
It is fascinating. It is fascinating.
How many times a day we, almost against our own will, sing "Let It Go" whenever something's intense.
Or do you want to build a snowman? Yeah, it's weird. It is, to me too. I mean, I'm still like every day. I'm like, what is that movie? How did it do what it did?
It tapped into. We have a colleague who has a 2-year-old who she won't sit still for anything except that.
It's amazing.
Beauty and the Beast too.
Yes.
What an awesome cast.
Unbelievable.
What have those initial table reads been? I mean, we've got
Well, Sir Ian McKellen did a Facebook post that I love that Sir Ian is more forward thinking when it comes to social media than I am. He did a Facebook post that captured the essence of that table read. It was one of the most magical things I've ever been a part of. Emma Thompson getting up and singing her incredible rendition of the famous song. Just being there in that room and seeing what Bill Condon was dreaming up, it's going to blow people's minds. It's exactly what you would want it to be. And it's an amazing tribute, but it's also creating its own new territory. And I think people are going to flip out.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. Cinderella.
It was brilliant. Yeah. I loved it.
And I thought it really did this incredible job of sticking to what we know of that classic tale.
Right.
But it did feel fresh to me at the same time.
It did. This does the same thing, but it is the first one of these live adaptations that actually utilizes the music.
Yeah.
Which was such a strong component to movies like Beauty and the Beast. So I'm so excited. It's one of the main reasons that I signed on to do it is the opportunity to get to sing and do something like that in a live feature film is something I've been looking forward to doing, and I'm really excited about it.
There's endless possibilities for musicals. Now, I don't know that there's been talk of this for years and years about doing a Book of Mormon movie. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I think it would be excellent. I think that I know the perfect guy to play Elder Cunningham.
Who?
It's a Jack Black type, sitting right here, right now. Gad.
Have you ever been referred to as
I've been
Jack
referred
Black
to as
type?
anybody curly and overweight, anybody with curly hair and overweight, I've been referred. One of my favorite stories is I was in Big Bear with my best friend Seth Gable, who's on Salem, and we were sitting there, and this waitress comes up, and she goes, "I know you, I know you," and she didn't. One of those people has no clue where she knows me from, and she goes, "Where have I seen you? What have I seen you do?" I said, "I was in a movie called Blues Brothers that you might know." She goes, and I'm thinking she's gonna laugh and be like, "You idiot." That's it. That's it. What's your name? And I start laughing. I go, Belushi? John Belushi? She goes, John Belushi. Hey, Daniil, we have actor John Belushi here.
Resurrect.
I was like, so not only did I not pass away, but I got younger somehow in the time that I've been at this diner, where it utilizes the rules of time and space that only Lost seems to use. John Belushi is alive and well in Big Bear.
Thank God, because I gotta say that's one of my all-time favorite movies. There's worse things to get.
Yes, yeah.
To get recognized for. Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Do you have one thing from the Comedians that you're most looking forward to people saying? There's a musical number.
There is a musical number written by, speaking of Frozen and Book of Mormon, written by Bobby Lopez and Chris and Anderson Lopez. That is, I think, unbelievably catchy and hysterically funny. And that's in the same episode coming up with Mel Brooks. So it's a very fun episode. But in general, I'm really excited for people to see the journey of these two guys. And it goes to some really touching, dark, hysterically funny places.
Thank you so much for coming. You can come geek out with us anytime.
Can I?
Anytime.
I would love that.
I'm sure you have nothing else going on.
Let's just ruin spoilers in Star Wars and Marvel universe for each other.
Let's sit here and go on the internet and talk about all the spoilers.
And just sit there and cry that we read the spoilers. Perfect.
Awesome. You can go and see the Comedians every Thursday night on FX at 10 p.m. and you should.